This is the story of throwaway for sure 456 in polyamory. In our open marriage, my wife is having the greatest sex of her life, and I don't like it. Kindly vent and plead for guidance. There is a lot of background, but I don't have the energy to type it up. We've been together for 13 years and married for 9. My wife 35F and I 37M opened up our marriage a year ago for various reasons. I get turned on by hearing about her adventures in every detail imaginable. She gets turned on about knowing I've been with someone else, but doesn't want to know any details. Getting to the point, she began seeing an acquaintance of mine for the last 4 months, and she is now having the most fulfilling sex ever. It was a huge turn on at first, but now I'm torn between excitement, happiness for her, jealousy, and irritability. They did not meet through me. My wife is a runner, and she runs by his house almost daily. One day, he was at the end of his driveway when she went by, and he stopped her, and they had a conversation. This led to flirting, and then to more. I've never been the type of guy who could be really rough and degrading to a woman, but this guy is, and she is really enjoying having no control. She's told me he's bigger PP size, rougher, lasts longer, and makes her orgasm harder than ever. I won't go into a ton of details, but just as a quick example, he likes to hold her head down on the floor and FK her face. She says it's amazing. To make matters kind of worse, he lives in our neighborhood, so she can stop over at his house to and from work. Sometimes I'll see her car in his driveway in the morning, and it's an instant irritation for me. I can't tell why I'm so torn on this. She's had great sex before with others, and it hasn't bothered me. I know part of the problem is that I can't be him. I can't make my cork bigger, I can't disregard her feelings, and I can't give her as much pleasure. I can kind of accept these facts to a certain degree, but there is something that still bothers me. I don't know if it's the fact that I know the guy, that the proximity bothers me, or how often she visits him. But yet, I still get turned on by hearing about her latest adventure and being forced to do something. Maybe it's the fact that he just takes what he wants, and she doesn't say no. Whereas if I ask to do the same thing, I get a no-way answer. For example, I brought up how hot it would be if we brought over a couple of guy friends and we all enjoyed her, and she was offended and really made me feel bad. He told her he was going to share her with his friends this Friday, and she simply said she'd wear something hot. Maybe it's simply the difference in her sexual preferences between us, relationship-wise. Other than this, I think everything is great. We still make love a few days a week, and she has been very honest, maybe too honest about everything. I'm not sure if I have to worry about her developing feelings for him or not. I realize that communication is key to everything, and I haven't been honest with her in saying it doesn't bother me, and by encouraging it to continue, if not escalate. The more I like it, the further she takes it. I suppose I need to pull the plug on this, but I wish I could just pinpoint exactly what my issue is. I feel like a jerk asking her to stop having the best sex ever. I'm not sure what I'm asking, but any advice or thoughts are appreciated. I'll try my best to answer any questions. Thanks for letting me vent. TLDR. In an open relationship with wife. She is having better sex with another guy. I can't really decide how I feel. Update. Hello everyone. I wanted to say thanks for all of the advice and help getting out of my head. I sat down with my wife and tried to express the issues I was feeling and some of my concerns. I let her know that I was concerned about our relationship, whether she was indeed having the best sex of her life, and the frequency of visits. She was extremely upset when I said this to her. Not upset at me or the situation, but at herself for allowing me to feel this way and not being more observant of my feelings. She said she would stop everything in a heartbeat if it bothered me too much or was harming our marriage. We discussed a lot of things, the biggest being the sex between her and the neighbor. She explained that the sex was not better. It was simply different. Being submissive and used is a huge turn-on for her and allows her to get out of her head and just enjoy sex. She did admit, though, that it is degrading at times, but she likes that part too. She said the thought of just waking up at his door and him being instantly turned on to the point where he just uses her really gets her aroused. Her knowing that it will be quick and forceful is also appealing because it can be spur of the moment or on the way to or from work. There is no waiting until we go to bed, when the chores are done, when I'm done with work, etc. She said one of the reasons the SX is so good for her is how comfortable she is with him. He can use her, choke her with his D, and tie her up. But she trusts him not to actually hurt her or allow her to be hurt. It wouldn't be nearly as good with a random guy from CL. I brought up me being more dominant and using her. She is willing to try, but she said that she is afraid that if I just used her the way he does, it would really hurt her feelings. I can kind of understand that. We're going to try it anyway. She also said it was a big turn on to tell me about it, and the more she tells me, the more she wants. However, she agreed that if sharing the details bothered me, she should stop or hold some things back. She is leaving it up to me to ask for details or if anything happened. She said she liked the fact that he was thick and stretched her. She didn't know if she cranked harder because of how thick he was or because of the loss of control and the situation. She also reassured me by saying that even though she likes his cork, it's not to say it's better or mine isn't big enough. She compared it to girls I've been with. Even though I have women who are tighter, does that mean I don't enjoy sex with her? We talked about her being shared as well. The plan was for her to go over to his house for a few hours in the evening, where she would be stripped down and lightly strapped on her stomach to a padded bench. The 3 guys would take turns on her whenever they had the urge. She would be sent home after they all had enough. She knows this is outside her norm, but she loved the thought of having little control, but making the guys want her and being used like a toy. I told her I didn't like the idea of this happening right before Christmas. She had no problem canceling it since it bothered me. She rescheduled for this Friday night with my blessing. I'm nervous but turned on. All in all, I'm glad I listened to everyone's advice, took a deep breath, and talked it out. While I now know that she would end it in a second if I asked her to, the conversation could have gone much differently had I been aggressive and demanding on the subject. Thanks Reddit. TLDR. Had a great conversation with wife regarding her sexual life. Second story. This idiot customer returned his cat to the shelter because the cat did not listen to his orders. A funny, wholesome story. This happened to me yesterday at work, and it's something I will never forget. I work at an animal shelter, and I had a customer come in who I remembered from a few weeks ago. A man had adopted this cat named Nelson. I remember this because Nelson was one of the few cats we listed as sensitive, so we know to keep them in a private room where they won't be bothered by crazy younger cats, because he came from a home where there was trauma. Due to this, he is extremely skittish and can misbehave on occasion. The man came in with Nelson in the carrier and came to the front desk, asking to talk to our manager and saying that he had a complaint. I asked him what the complaint was, but he insisted he wanted to talk to the manager Alan, who helped him pick Nelson out. It takes me a few minutes to find Alan, because we are all generally all over the place here. And when we come back, Alan asks the guy what the issue is the cat sick, or did it hurt you, etc. General things we ask when people roll up trying to return a pet. In most cases, we can work it out and make sure the animal doesn't have to be returned. I stuck around because I wanted to hear why this guy was trying to return the cat, because I'm nosy, he said. He refuses to listen to any order I give him. Alan and I were a little puzzled and asked what he meant. Alan said, well, we don't know his full training history, but most cats know the general word no because of the tone behind it. Have you tried? The guy cut him off and said, he is choosing not to listen to me. I told him the rules when we got home, and he has ignored every single one. The guy went on a rant, saying how the cat was told to use a little box, but he pissed on the floor multiple times, how he told the cat not to go into the spare room, but he still does, and so on. Right then, it clicked with me. This guy thinks the cat understands what he is saying. I asked him, wait, do you think the cat can understand you? Like, he understands the words you say to him? The man tilted his head at me, looked at me like an idiot, and said, he is choosing not to. That's the thing issue. I couldn't help it. I busted out laughing so hard that I almost teared up. That's just never, ever anything I've ever heard of someone genuinely thinking animals can understand what a human is saying like they are also humans. Long story short, I was told to leave the room by Alan, who figured out the issue. And I did kind of feel like a D after, because I guess the guy had never had a pet before and hadn't really been around animals other than a few well-trained dogs. And he legit thought animals could understand you. My boss wasn't mad at me at all, but she told me I acted very unprofessional, which I do agree with to some extent. I don't think I was an arse, but I know I should not have laughed so hard. I was on kennel duty for the next 2 days. I shouldn't have laughed in front of him, but damn, I couldn't help it. Edit. The cat was returned, but in this case, it seems to be the best outcome. Also, shelters aren't always the worst situation for an animal. We love our babies at our shelter. Not the case for all, though. Edit 2. I will update when he finds his forever home. I would take him myself, but I have a 13-year-old cat and a 2-year-old lab, so it's not the ideal house for the little guy. Update. OP here. Good news, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you may remember my previous post. If not, read it because it's hilarious and has a cute cat. The news. Our boy Nelson has found his forever home. He got adopted 8 days ago, and I've been waiting to see if it stuck before posting. Nelson became a top priority to adopt out, as he was one of our most difficult but favorite cats we took care of. He became the pet of the month and got the attention of an older gentleman who came in, get this, with a printed out copy of our Facebook post. It was very adorable of him. This man automatically saw us as a great candidate for Nelson since he was an experienced cat owner. He had a bit of a sad story. His wife passed away last year, and their 18-year-old tabby passed away 4 months ago. He was very lonely and wanted to get a new friend, but he didn't want to get a young cat. He is older and doesn't have the energy to take care of a demanding cat. Nelson was absolutely perfect. I have seen very heartwarming moments with pets and their new families, but this one was a top. As you guys may remember, Nelson is a cranky arsehole that you can't help but love. He's not really nice, and he is standoffish, but I shut you up. When we brought him into the meeting room, he pranced over to the man and hopped up onto his lap. My jaw almost hit the floor. After 30 minutes of Nelson going ap SHT over this man, he was adopted and went off to his new home. The man has sent us photos and updates of Nelson since then, and it seems to be going very well. I guess he speaks cat. I won't be posting photos as the man is in them. And I'm trying to not get in trouble at work again. Thank you guys for being Nelson's biggest fans, and I'm so stoked that both of them got a happy ending together. Edit. Wow, thank you for the gold and for being such kind people. We need people like you in this world.